1 hour answering general knowledge questions. Are you ready? Let's begin. What is the main ingredient in guacamole? Avocado. Which flower was so valuable that it caused an economic bubble in the 17th century in the Netherlands? The tulip. Which of these countries has a national anthem with no official lyrics? Spain. Who is the god of war in Greek mythology? Ares. Which part of the body does glaucoma affect? The eyes? How many knights does each chess player have at the start of a game? 2 knights? What gas is released when you open a can of soda? Carbon dioxide? Which Netflix miniseries centers on chess and was a hit in 2020? The Queen's Gambit. What is the average body temperature of a human under normal conditions? (37°C goodbye? Which car company has a logo with 4 interlocking rings? Audi? How many seconds are there in an hour? 3,600 seconds. What kind of sentence is it? What a pleasant surprise. Exclamatory. What is it called? The phenomenon that occurs when sound bounces and is heard again. Is the echo? In which layer of the atmosphere is the ozone layer found? In the stratosphere? What structure of the nervous system connects the brain with the rest of the body? The spinal cord? In which century did the Second World War occur? In the 20th century? Which city has the longest subway network in the world? The Chinese city of Shanghai? What is France's official currency? The euro? In which sport did Muhammad Ali excel? Muhammad Ali excelled in boxing. Which of these countries does not belong to Central Europe? Portugal? Sound travels faster than light. True or false? Is it false? What was the nationality of the first woman who traveled to space? Was she Soviet? What number, when multiplied by itself, gives 64? . Right? Which country is being pointed to on the map? Is it France? What is the pronoun in the sentence? She left early. She. Which is the farthest planet from the sun in the solar system? Neptune. Which of these animals is a marine mammal? The dolphin? What is the official residence of the President of Chile? La Moneda Palace? In which city does most of the series Friends take place? In New York. What is a person who suffers from nomophobia afraid of? Of not having a mobile phone. What does a light year measure, distance, or time? Distance. What is the most voluminous river in Africa? The Congo River? Which explorer arrived in America in 1492? Christopher Columbus. What's the duck's name? Mickey Mouse's friend? Donald? Which Egyptian god was represented with a falcon head? Horus? How many sides does a pentagon have? Five sides. How do you say lunes in English? Monday? If a square has sides that measure 9 centimeters, what is its area? (81 square centimeters). The Earth is a perfect sphere. True or false? Is it false? Which chemical element has the symbol W? Tungsten, also known as wolfram? Who wrote the novel Crime and Punishment? Fyodor Dostoevsky. In which country is Lake Baikal the deepest in the world? In Russia? In which country are the Petronas Towers located? In Malaysia? What is the demonym for the inhabitants of Egypt? They are Egyptians. Which finger is this? The pinky? Which god from Greek mythology was depicted carrying a trident? Poseidon? Which country is currently the largest producer of gold? China? What is the capital of Haiti? Port-au-Prince. In which sea is the island of Barbados located? In the Caribbean Sea. Who is the alter ego of Iron Man? Tony Stark. Which of these three flowers is a lily? The correct answer is A. Which war started in 1914? The First World War? What is the most abundant mineral in the human body? Calcium? Which country has the largest stock exchange in the world? United States? What currency did Germany use before the euro? The German mark? What textile material is obtained from sheep? Wool? Kangaroos can't walk backwards. True or false? It's true. In which Spanish city were the 1992 Olympic Games held? In Barcelona. Who appears on the US $10 bill? Alexander Hamilton? Which country has Podgorica as its capital? Montenegro. Where is the region of Tuscany located? In Italy. How many days does February have in a non-leap year? 28 days. What does the prefix bio mean? It means life. Which part of the brain controls balance and coordination? The cerebellum. Who wrote the novel Love in the Time of Cholera? Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Who formulated 3 laws that describe the motion of bodies? And Isaac Newton. What is the state of matter that does not have a definite shape, but does have a definite volume? The liquid state. What metal is the main component of hemoglobin? Iron. Fifth Avenue is one of the most iconic streets in which city? In New York. Where does the green anaconda, one of the largest snakes in the world, live? In the Amazon rainforest? Which of these women's names is also the name of a European capital? Sofia is the capital of Bulgaria. Which of these three muscles is the deltoid? The correct answer is B. Where did ping pong originate? In England. Which natural resource is known as black gold? Oil. What is the most populated city in Germany? Berlin. Who played Oppenheimer in the 2023 film of the same name? Cillian Murphy. What is the lightest gas that exists? Hydrogen? According to the saying, he who laughs last. Laughs best. In which country is the Notre Dame Cathedral? In France? Which spice is obtained from the bark of a tree? Cinnamon. Which power was defeated in the Vietnam War? The United States. What disease can develop due to a lack of iron? Anemia. What's it called? The point where nothing escapes the gravity of a black hole? It's the event horizon. In baseball, how many outs are there in total in a complete inning? 6 outs. Which country does the island of Madeira belong to? Madeira is an island of Portugal. What is the correct plural of cafe? Cafés? Who was the Chilean president overthrown by the military coup in 1973? Salvador Allende. What type of word is blue in the sentence? The blue house is mine. Adjective. Which Caribbean island is known as the Island of Enchantment? Puerto Rico. Where were the Hanging Gardens, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, located? In Babylon? In the Bible, which apostle denied Jesus 3 times? The Apostle Peter? How many meters is a yard equivalent to? .914 meters. What is the discipline focused on bee breeding and management called? Beekeeping? What is it called? The highest point of a mountain. It's the summit. Who was the creator and performer of Chapel in Colorado? Roberto Gómez Bolaños? Who is the highest authority of the Catholic Church? The Pope? Of which country was Álvaro Uribe president? Of Colombia? The Trojan horse is a proven historical fact. True or false? Is it false? What structure prevents food from entering the trachea when swallowing? The epiglottis? What is the demonym for people from Sweden? Swedes. Where did coffee originate? In Ethiopia? What color represents mourning in most Western countries? Black. Of which country was Mauricio Macri president? Of Argentina? What is Australia's official currency? The Australian dollar? What breed is this dog? It's a pug. Which country do the Canary Islands belong to? Spain? Which branch of biology is responsible for the scientific study of animals? Zoology? Which political system is based on the sovereignty of the people and free elections? Democracy? The sun takes 24 hours to go around the earth. True or false? That's false. On which continent is the Gobi Desert located? In Asia? Which waterfalls are shared by Canada and the United States? The Niagara Falls. The Grammy Awards are considered the highest honor. In which discipline? Music. What color is the carpet that is almost always used at major events? Red. What is the official language of Egypt? Arabic. What is 15% of 200? 30. In which ocean is the Bay of Bengal? In the Indian Ocean. What symbol is used to mention a person on social networks like Twitter or Instagram? @. Where is the main headquarters of the UN? In New York? According to the Bible, who was the disciple that betrayed Jesus in exchange for 30 pieces of silver? Judas Iscariot? What is the basic unit of matter? atom? In which century did the Renaissance take place? In the 15th and 16th centuries? What piece of jewelry is traditionally given for an engagement? A ring? Which month is 7th in the year? July? What is the highest card in poker? The ace. The Pacific Ocean is larger than all the continents combined. True or false? True? Which branch of law deals with commerce and business? Commercial law. Which is the rainiest country in the world? Colombia. Who directed the movie Titanic? James Cameron. What is the capital of Syria? Damascus? How many signs are there in the zodiac? 12? Which technology brand has a bitten apple as its logo? Apple? Who is this famous writer? Edgar Allan Poe? Which English queen was known as the Virgin Queen? Elizabeth I? Against which disease was the first vaccine created in 1796? Subscribe. Smallpox. Where is Mount Fuji? In Japan. What material does a stonemason mainly work with? With stone. What country did the United States gain independence from? From Great Britain. What month is Halloween celebrated in? In October? Which river flows through the most countries? The Danube River passes through 10 European countries. In the Disney classic Aladdin, what color is the genie? Blue? Which empire was founded by Cyrus the Great in the 6th century BC? The Persian Empire? Which branch of medicine studies and treats mental disorders? Psychiatry? Which empire was ruled by Alexander the Great? The Macedonian Empire? In which culture is it common to give red envelopes with money on special occasions? In Chinese culture? How are the elements arranged in the current periodic table? Subscribe. By atomic number. Which religion has the Torah as its sacred book? Judaism? Which animal clucks? The hen? Which discipline combines physical movements with relaxation postures and breathing? Yoga? What is the name of this architectural style? Gothic? Which virgin is the patron saint of Mexico? The Virgin of Guadalupe. Who was the Greek goddess of wisdom and strategic war? Athena. What grain is the main ingredient in sushi? Rice? What does pedology study? Soils? How do you say amigo in English? Friend? Which part of speech indicates the action performed by the subject? The verb. What is the name of this math game? Sudoku? How does the saying end? Tell me who your friends are. And I'll tell you who you are. How long does it take the moon to go around the Earth? "27 days. The Titanic sank on its first voyage. True or false? True? Which animal lays the largest eggs in the world? The ostrich? Which metal is obtained from bauxite? Aluminum? What type of pasta is shaped like a tube? Macaroni? What magic word opens the cave in the story of Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves? Open sesame. Which board game involves capturing the opponent's king? Chess? Who is the current leader of North Korea? Kim Jong-un. Which book contains the meaning of the words of a language? The dictionary. Which country does this flag belong to? India? Which branch of mathematics studies numbers and basic operations with them? Arithmetic. Which alcoholic beverage is obtained from the fermentation of apples? Cider. Which of these three paintings was painted by Vincent van Gogh? The sunflowers? Which organization uses a blue flag with 12 golden stars in a circle? The European Union? Which animal has the longest trunk in the animal kingdom? The elephant? What disease is related to excessive sugar consumption? Diabetes? To which family of instruments does the violin belong? To the string family? In which part of the cell is the genetic material stored? In the nucleus? What's it called, this sport? Is it curling? Which country is being pointed at on the map? Is it Peru? What sport is practiced in a velodrome? Track cycling? Which language is the official language in the most countries worldwide? English is the official language of more than 50 countries. Which animated character lives in Bikini Bottom? SpongeBob? What is the supposed ability to move objects with the mind called? Telekinesis. Which Chinese company manufactures the Redmi mobile phone brand? Xiaomi? What numerical value does the letter L represent in Roman numerals? $50. How often does a leap year occur? Every 4 years. The Sahara Desert is bigger than Mexico. True or false? True. Which country would you have to travel to in order to visit the Lombardy region? To Italy? Before the adoption of the euro in 2002, what was the official currency of Portugal? The escudo? Which country does this flag belong to? It's the flag of Sweden. Which mobile app allows you to request rides in private cars through your phone? Uber. Which countries formed the Axis in World War II? Germany, Italy, and Japan? What kind of animal is a frog? An amphibian? Which ocean is located north of Europe and Russia? The Arctic Ocean? Which pharaoh is known for his golden funerary mask? Tutankhamun? What is the branch of medicine that investigates and treats blood diseases? Hematology. Which bird has historically been used as a messenger? The pigeon. What is the adult male sheep called? The ram. What is the name of a river that flows into a larger one? A tributary? What component of the car is responsible for cooling the engine? The radiator? What title did the emperors of Russia hold until 1917? Tsar. The country has 3 official capitals. South Africa. Which empire was ruled by Genghis Khan? The Mongol Empire. Which Disney movie popularized the phrase Hakuna Matata? The Lion King? What is the place called where a river begins? The source? On which continent did cacao originate? In South America? What instrument is used to guide the course of a ship? The rudder? What part of the body is mainly affected by a neurological disease? The nervous system. What is the largest object in the solar system? The sun. Which of these is the Bluetooth logo? Logua. What does the hygrometer measure? The humidity of the air? How much is it? 5 squared? $25. Where were the 2012 Olympic Games held? In London. What is grammar? The set of rules that govern a language? Which of these words is a pronoun? She? In which Spanish city is the Alhambra located? In Granada. What kind of animal is a manta ray? Manta rays are fish? Who wrote "No One Writes to the Colonel"? Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Thank you. What happens to air pressure? As you go up in the atmosphere, it decreases. Which Spanish artist was one of the main figures of Surrealism? Salvador Dali? What document do you need to travel by plane to another country? The passport. In which Latin American country is the El Dorado International Airport located? In Colombia? Which Roman dictator was assassinated by a group of senators? Julius Caesar. Which country has Riyadh as its capital? Riyadh is the capital of Saudi Arabia. What was the name of the era that followed the fall of the Western Roman Empire? The Middle Ages. Which revolution gave rise to the Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen? The French Revolution? Who wrote Alice in Wonderland? Lewis Carroll. What Spanish tradition consists of running in front of the bulls through the streets of Pamplona? The running of the bulls? In which country is Mount Rushmore located? In the United States. Next. Which musical instrument did Bartolomeo Cristofori invent in the early 18th century? The piano? Which musical genre did Bob Marley popularize? Reggae? Which European city hosted the first modern Olympic Games in 1896? Athens. What breed is this dog? Is it a poodle? Most of the planet's oxygen comes from the oceans. True or false? True. What is the name of the imaginary line that divides two countries? Is it a border? What is the name of the art of beautiful handwriting? Calligraphy? What color is traditionally associated with peace? White? What mathematical symbol is used to represent percentage? The correct answer is option B. Who painted this artwork? It's The Kiss, and it was painted by Gustav Klimt. What color is predominant in the celebration of St. Patrick's Day? Green? Which country celebrates Independence Day on July 4th? United States. Number 2. What gas do plants absorb from the air to perform photosynthesis? Carbon dioxide. What does a folivorous animal eat? Leaves? What historical period are we currently living in? In the contemporary age? What is it called? The main text on the front page of a newspaper? It's the headline. Who painted the creation of Adam? Michelangelo? What did Alessandro Volta invent? The electric battery? What is the name for carbon dioxide in its solid state? Dry ice. Which of these materials is a good electrical insulator? Copper, aluminum, or plastic? Plastic? Octopuses have bones, true or false? False? What is the process called where you heat a metal and then cool it quickly to make it harder? Quenching? Which cell is responsible for transporting oxygen in the blood? The red blood cell? Which Nobel Prize did Marie Curie win first? Physics or chemistry? The Nobel Prize in Physics. Which planet in the solar system has the fastest rotation? Jupiter. What is India's national animal? The tiger. What lines are used to determine the latitude of a place? The parallels. What is the name of the Jewish place of worship? Synagogue. What is the name given to the study of climate and atmospheric phenomena? Meteorology, thank you. Which scientist proposed the laws of genetic inheritance? Gregor Mendel. What is a person who suffers from mysophobia afraid of? Germs. Which is bigger, an atom or a molecule? A molecule? Who plays Joseph Cooper in the movie Interstellar? The actor Matthew McConaughey? What metal is mainly used to make beverage cans? Aluminum? In which European city does the movie Ratatouille take place? In Paris. Which of these animals is a crustacean? The crab? Who is considered the first pharaoh of Egypt? Narmer. Which is the most populated continent in the world? Asia. Who won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2025? The Venezuelan Maria Corina Machado. What color are the Smurfs? Are they blue? Lula da Silva is the president of which country? Of Brazil. In which religion is the concept of karma and reincarnation found? Hinduism? Where did the meteorite that caused the extinction of the dinosaurs fall? In what is now the territory of Mexico in the Yucatan Peninsula? Where did the Silk Road begin? In China. Which famous European museum suffered a major robbery in October 2025? The Louvre Museum in France? Where did the main gods of Greek mythology live? On Mount Olympus. What is the false name that an author uses to hide their identity called? Pseudonym? What type of wood is traditionally used to make pencils? Cedar. Which is longer, a day on Mercury or a day on Earth? On Mercury, each day lasts 4,224 hours. What is the official currency of Peru? The Peruvian sol? Which continent surrounds the Persian Gulf? Asia? What was the city of Tokyo called before 1868? Edo. What is each of the lines that make up a poem called? A verse. What does the medical term dyspnea refer to? Difficulty breathing? Which country does Easter Island belong to? To Chile? Thanks to those who have commented on our videos and posts. Here are some other great videos that you might find interesting. See you in the next dose of culture. See you soon.